Rather than making them or talking about putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here.
MAGA will see that and say, good thing that woke liberal socialists never gained any traction in the Republican Party, or else we'd be Venezuela by now. They'd rail on Reagan's policy because they're currently showing how little they think of their current one, which a confused former president is posting about. Democrats' weak border bill just failed. So, what else is new? Trump doesn't care that his purposely confused brag session over the Senate now voting down the border bill doesn't match up with the months-long discussion over his party following his orders to sabotage it, despite being led by Republican Senator James Lankford.
You're a real gentleman about this, and I know you're not trying to zing your colleagues, but it's your colleagues in your party, sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined was in that measure. They killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch it. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election, it's the single biggest issue during the election, don't resolve this, we'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
That, again, he's got an office that he's running for. He's got a campaign that he's running. I'm already in office. I've got a responsibility to be able to carry on this.
That's how little Trump thinks of his supporters. They can back him up on his open declaration to the House and now the Senate to kill a border bill that they all would usually love. Then he can flip it and claim it was a Democratic bill. It was actually a victory for Republicans that think their approach would be effective for the country. But Donald Trump isn't interested in good things happening for the country or even his party that he's using to further his own goals of authoritarianism.
The height of stupidity is having a strong opinion on something you know nothing about. I'm extremely disappointed in the very strange maneuvering by many on the right to torpedo a potential border reform bill. If we have a bill that, on net, significantly decreases illegal immigration, and we sabotage that, that is inconsistent with what we told our voters we would do. People will make up whatever reasons they want to. There's a number of them, I'm sure. But it would be a pretty unacceptable dereliction of your duty.
Dan Crenshaw forgot what the rest of his party pledged to do when being sworn into Congress on a Trump Bible or something.
Everything that we do in the House of Representatives should be in the best interest of getting Donald Trump reelected. This guy right here.
Yes, I'm going to keep running that until it's known that Representative Niels and elected Republicans only work for Donald Trump. And that includes the Speaker of the House.
I think he's in denial, and I think that many in his party have demanded. There is an open borders sort of caucus, informal caucus in the Democrat Party, and they push this.
Really?
They push this agenda. Yeah, and the reason is, Harris, everybody asked me, I've been in 110 cities in 29 states now in the last 5.5 months, moving around the country, campaigning with our incumbents and candidates. Everywhere I am, no matter where I am in the country, everybody says, why? Why would they do this? There's such a catastrophe for the country. Why would the president knowingly allow this? Because they wanted to turn these people into voters. That's plain. And they want to change the outcome of the census in 6 years. It sounds sinister, and it is. And they've exacted untold damage on the country.
So in order to survive in Trump's MAGA party and retain the little bit of power that they think they have at his feet, GOP senators have joined the clown show that is the House and shifted from advocating for their border security to opposing it in order to complain about it.
Senator, do you think the senators, your colleagues, understand that people are sick and tired of all the politics instead of just answering and doing things for the American people, making our lives better? But it's all everything's politics all the time. So you bring a vote to the floor because you want to have a show vote?
Exactly. The American people know it. I know that Nebraskans do. You know, they want to know what we're working on here in Washington, D.C. that's going to make their lives better. They want to know how we're going to address inflation and try to reduce that growth we see of what, 20%, over 20% now more for groceries, for rent, for energy. That's what people are addressing when I'm back home in Nebraska and listening to them. They're tired of this BS that we have going on here in Washington with the other party setting the agenda in the United States Senate, bringing up nominations, and show votes. When we have major issues from the border to the cost of living here in this country.
And the next best way to throw a middle finger to their voters that they think are complete fools is to say one thing for cover while doing the opposite. Senate Democrats posted how Tom Tillis plays his supporters when they said this. Senator Tillis came to the Senate floor to announce he would support the bipartisan border security bill. Then he came back to the floor to vote against it. Twice.
Senator Langford, you've done an extraordinary job of negotiating what I think is going to be a successful compromise that's going to get support from Republicans and Democrats. He's negotiated something that I think is important. We cannot miss this opportunity. You know what? You don't even need political courage to do the right thing here, because the good policy of border security is also good politics. We need about 70 votes coming out of this chamber to create the momentum to get it done in the House. And I'm going to be one of those 70 votes.